Alright boys, welcome back to the Black Clover mobile video, and today we're going to go over how to gear your new Charlotte, since she is the character that everyone should be going for, and especially pick up for free if you are doing your gateway offering. However, I got to stress one point, and that is this character is not that good. We're going to use it probably tomorrow at a free-to-play level, but if you don't plan to dupe her out, she's not going to be that good. And as you can see right now, I currently do not have her at even a 2-star. I have one dupe for her, which I will obviously be using, and then also I'm getting a free copy in like 5 days time that will allow me to take the character to 2-star plus, which is when she gets this passive. And as you can see, it does say at the start of the turn, grants an ally with the highest attack a barrier equal to 50% of her own max HP. And this is why the character is so good. She's able to apply a barrier to your Julius or whatever DPS your character you're bringing to make them better, and she does that through her awaken passive. So you do have to get her passive to 2-star, otherwise she's not going to be that good. I mean, she'll be okay, and we'll try it tomorrow like I said, but she's not getting that passive. It just doesn't work. So the big part of the character is just get a 2-star. Is it worth spending dupes on her? Maybe. Honestly, I think she's a character that's going to stick around for a while. I think at least for the next few months. I think Spirit Dive, is like one of the only characters coming out in like recent times in JP, but Charlotte's been meta for months already. And he does apply a barrier immunity, which means Charlotte's passive actually won't work here. So she has got some characters coming, but not for months, right? We know for the next few weeks, even with obviously Leona coming out, it's not going to change much. But to be fair, there's still a lot of characters in the game and constantly coming out in the game that have barrier move on the combo attack or some sort of barrier move, right? I mean, even with this patch, we have Magna, who honestly seems like a direct counter towards the actual Charlotte, but since she has to be used in a mono red team and also needs to have dupes himself, you can see why people aren't really using this guy too much. But regardless, let's go into a Charlotte and go over how to get a character. Like I said, you want to take it to 2-star because you do get that passive, and that's what we're going to focus on. We're going to focus on the fact you have the character at 2-star because that's when the character is playable. So your gear, to be fair, probably near enough be the same, but I guess it makes a bit of a difference if you don't have a 2-star awakening. I will say, when you do get towards 5-star, it's not necessary, but it will make the character more usable. And as you can see, all it adds is the exact same passive. It just adds grant self taunt immunity, meaning if you taunt the character, she can still actually use her skills, because 2 of her skills are selectable skills, which means if you get taunted, you literally cannot use these, which means Astar, whenever you use him, sometimes you might automatically target the actual Charlotte, and that will make her basically unusable for 2 turns. Or even if you enter anti-magic, you accidentally attack an actual Radis who's max dupes. You get the point, right? Like, having a 5-star makes the character just reliable, where you can definitely work around it. And I probably personally wouldn't chase it to 5-star. Now, in fact, I'm not actually. I'm just getting a 2-star, leave it and calling it a day. I personally myself like to save the dupes for when we get festival characters, and obviously Leona is dropping next season. All right, let's go through the gear. Like I said, she's a character from the passive, gives a shield based on her max HP. So that is what you want to do here. We've worked on the gear a little bit, nothing too crazy, but I think the best thing you want to get upwards to is obviously 100k shield. So you are constantly getting around 50k shield every single turn, because you're getting 50% off your actual HP. Bear in mind, you can obviously increase with talents, which I don't think affects our actual base stats. These are actually in-game. So for example, right now, this one over here, we'll talk about talents in a second, but this gives 5% max HP. If I take it off and I save it, her HP is still the exact same, so it will technically be higher in obviously game. But yeah, for gear, of course, we're going for the rectangle pieces because those are going to give us the actual HP stat. And of course, fill the top ones up with obviously speed, defense, and HP one. HP is going to give us an extra 7% max HP. We're going to get defense because, bear in mind, she applies a shield, but she doesn't apply a shield towards herself. She is going to be almost naked, very targetable, which is why it's very important, and we're going to go through that in a second, to focus on substats, make her tanky as possible. And that's kind of what I've done a little bit with this character. I will say one thing though, speed wise. So at 0-star, her speed is 120, but if you actually upgrade it, you can see at 4-star it will go to 122, and at 5-star it will go to 124, which is basically the second highest speed in the game, but like it's tied up with everyone other than William and a few characters that don't increase their speed passively, like obviously Red But yeah, if you get her towards 4-star or 5-star, sorry, she will obviously have the fastest speed in the game, and will consistently start first, which is obviously kind of what you want with Charlotte, because she does have the actual ultimate that does give you reduced damage taken and also grants defense penetration towards your DPS character. So even though the character does naturally have high fast speed, you still want to put the speed set onto her, because that means she can always guarantee more or less start first, or almost first, even against the speed teams. And also, since the buff does last 2 turns, it means you'll be able to recycle into your second skill, which can then buff up your supporter or your DPS even more. So yeah, 100% speed set, 100% HP is required. She literally based off HP and a defense, because she is going to be targeted probably nearly if the most, because she is the support character and she cannot apply a shield towards herself. Accessories, I mean, you can't really pick and choose here. You have to kind of work with what you got, but I would say don't be too afraid to use some UR ones. This, not the best ones, because we got some C grades here, but getting defense, critical resistance, and damage resistance to make her once again more tanky, it's something that you actually don't mind using. So if you do get some UR ones, definitely level those up if you can. And if you get some good rolls, then it's going to make your character even more tankier. So yeah, that's what I want to focus on now, is tankiness, her surviving. What I have focused on is going to be more or less damage resistance, so she's more likely to block, and also critical resistance, so obviously she doesn't just get one-hitted by characters. Now, my critical resistance is not the highest, it's only 23%. I could work in it a bit more, and maybe I will swap some things around, because I don't really like some of these gear sets here, especially the top ones. But yeah, the substats I will focus on if I was you, it would be, yeah, damage resistance, a little bit of defense, but not too much. HP, that's probably one of the more important ones. And yeah, critical resistance. And that would just make her survive longer, right? So this one's a really, really good one, actually. We got double HP, got S rank on the actual damage resistance. This one's really good too. We got literally the highest row on damage resistance. I had to keep it. A little bit of critical resistance. Good actual HP, not the highest, but still pretty good. And also magic attack. The character does scale off, obviously, attack. But the problem is, right, she doesn't really damage, so you don't really care too much about attack. But what we'll say is, though, is that this set can also be universal towards, obviously, Witch Queen. So that's kind of what I'm doing right here. I'm kind of killing 2 birds with 1 stone by making a Charlotte and also Witch Queen gear. And yeah, you can see my rolls. Once again, critical resistance, damage resistance when I can. Bit of, obviously, defense. That one could be a bit better. I could have got more HP on that one. But like this, for example, I mean, low rolls, but high damage resistance. We got obviously magic attack that will go towards Witch Queen. HP, critical resistance, kind of what you want to go towards, right? Just focus on the actual substats. My actual resistance isn't too bad. It's 302, which I think could be a bit higher, but I'm not trying to go like top tier PvP, right? But critical resistance is probably something I work on a little bit. But yeah, that is kind of how you want to gear your Charlotte, is like, you know, just putting the gear on and then focusing a little bit on the actual substats. For talents, this one is pretty straightforward. If you want to put on more, a little bit of attack and damage dealt to make her single target skill do a bit more, but I think I'm not going to waste the resources. For me, the most important one is obviously the actual support set, because if you do fully unlock it, you will get the HP talent Carvestone slot, and you can obviously get more HP, which means she survives more, but also gives more shield. So this is by far the most important one. Next one is going to be, obviously, you want to make sure you resist as much damage as possible, and it either go towards this one, which means you can get ultimate a bit faster, but honestly, I put this on. This one might be a bit of a strat here. So this obviously lowers your skill 2 cooldown by 1 at the start of the turn, and if you have the actual tier 2 upgraded, mine's right now is only level 3. We'll go through upgrades in a second, but you can get that skill to reset at like 100%. So it's possible to have this skill 2, which is a 3-turn cooldown, only have like a 1-turn cooldown, which will be insane to like recycle faster ultimates on your DPS character. So yeah, that is what I'll do for supports. This one is pretty straightforward, actually. You can see right now we have max HP, of course, and obviously defense and critical resistance is by far the most important one. You don't really care about anything else. Obviously, I'm trying to do it, but do unlock this slot here because you can get more defense to make it a bit more survivable. And yeah, like I said, I wouldn't focus too much on the attack talent. All right, so moving over towards skill pages and also level ups for skills. We'll start with the level up for skills. Do not touch this. This literally does increase his damage. You do not care. We kind of hinted out already, but skill 2, you actually want to upgrade to max here because it will actually guarantee you that you will reduce your skill 2 cooldown by 1. It's originally at 40%, but the more you upgrade, it's going to go up by 60, so you can literally get that to guarantee. So it's always a 2-turn cooldown. And like I said, if you get the Mage Blessing to proc, it's then a 1-turn cooldown, which is just like insane, right? You can recycle like what, 6 SP so quick on that. Special skill, I will still work on it. Obviously, I'll probably prioritize maybe skill 2, but you are going to get more reduced damage taken. And like I said already throughout this video, the character doesn't have a shield for herself, so having more ways to stop damage so she doesn't die in one shot is obviously something you actually want to upgrade here. The goodbye attack, you don't want to upgrade. It just increases damage dealt. But I would say, bear in mind, her actual combo attack is also pretty good too. You can see what it's going to do is grant own max HP as a barrier to the partner you do select with, which if I remind you, her HP is currently 100k, so that's a 100k shield. That's literally what Noelle does. She does around 200k sometimes, but yeah, it can also be a really good use to use it. Moving on to skill pages. So right now, I currently do not have a skill page. You want her skill page. The skill page in itself, what it actually does, isn't the greatest. It's upon taking damage from an attacker, so normally a Julius, there's a 25% chance to grant a 50% reduced damage taken buff, which, I mean, it's not bad. If you would actually max it out, it actually would be pretty good, especially if you're planning to use the character, because to get a 35% damage buff or reduced damage taken, it's massive, right? But it's not something you really care too much about a 1-star, but by far the most important thing is getting that actual status immunity for 2 turns. That is by far the most important thing, and why you want to go for the actual skill page. It's just the passive skill in itself is a nice little bonus to make this actual skill 2 better. But if you're like me, unfortunately, I did not pull the skill page. I can get through the battle pass, and I will get through the battle pass, but I guess there are some substitutes, and that is this skill page right here, which can give you 10% max HP. It means she gets, for me, I have 100k shield, so we're going to get extra 10k shield. 5k for a passive. It's not too bad. You could either go towards this one, which is going to be Sally's, where if you use a skill 2, which you will be using, of course, you're also going to grind an auto attack buff towards Julius to make him a better DPS character. And that's probably it. You could go towards Gift, so you get 5% max HP, but then you get more HP recovery, but there's no healer on your team unless you plan to bring one. Or you can go towards William, which will grant the lowest HP ratio, 6% off your own max HP, so about a 6k heal if you use a skill 2. I don't know. Personally, I think for myself, I'd probably go towards this one and maybe dabble a little bit with Sally. But like I said, you probably want to get that skill page for Charlotte. So if anything, I'd recommend just buying the battle pass just to get that guarantee skill page selector to get her skill page. All right, so for teams, it's pretty simple, boys. It's Julius. Julius is by far the best DPS in the game. He is going to get defense penetration by Charlotte. He's going to constantly keep on getting shields. He's going to get status immunity. He's going to get defense upgrade. He's going to be getting, more importantly, the SP buff, right? Julius is really fast and it already gets extra turns. So you can kind of recycle his ultimate even faster. And it's going to be even faster now with the actual Charlotte. So, yeah, by far, the best partner is going to be obviously the Julius. Asta. It's Black Asta. He's going to be in like every team. One, give your team defense so Charlotte doesn't die. Give them the damage resistance as well. It's or total defense. It's just the best one. You could, even if you want to, combine them. So if you do use the combined attack with Charlotte, you can give Black Asta a 100k shield. That might be situational if he does drop below the actual threshold of getting of the anti-magic. Bear in mind, he shouldn't have the highest attack in the game or your team. 21k. Julius should be a lot higher, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, magic attack is 30. So yeah, Julius will always get a shield. Asta will never get the shield unless you purposely go out of your way. Plus it'd be nice because Asta can stun, so you can get a stun on a character. And then for me, since you don't really need to go for Summoner Well because you already have shields for the Julius, and she's kind of fallen off a little bit. What you'd probably rather go towards is obviously this Noelle, granted if she is 2-star, so she does have the passive. And yeah, you can kind of just basically support every single character on your team to support Julius. Like, that's literally all you're doing, is making Julius the best DPS in the game. She also has a taunt, so you could counter other Noelles, the swimsuit one, but also counter other Charlottes if they're not 5-star. Like I said, if Charlotte isn't 5-star, they don't get that taunt immunity, which means you can taunt with either Asta or also the Noelle to stop her from using her tier 2 and also ultimate, and that will be only when they're not 5-star. Other than that, I can see the Witch Queen coming in here to make this team probably one of the best in the game. So if you want to save for Witch Queen, she's going to make this team probably even better. And yeah, other than that, I'm not entirely too sure. Maybe go towards a William with a little stun combo to get like a guarantee stun to start the match onto like the Charlotte, unless they've got a 5-star Asta. Maybe go Mars, once again, Charlotte's got high speed. You can get the stun off again. And yeah, honestly, that's probably the only thing I'd actually use. If you want to use Noelle because she's still one of your best DPSs, you can, because she does extend barriers by 1 turn. But she will be in front of Noelle, so you got to wait like a whole other turn before that. This is something I would use personally if your Charlotte isn't actually 2-star Awakening, because extending barriers doesn't work if she can't apply a barrier. So you would have to use Noelle at that point. But yeah, for me, like I said, this is my go-to team. Let me know what you actually use. I feel like this is not that many options to be used because you have to always use these three together. It's just a go-to, right? So yeah, boys, that is going to wrap up today's video. Hopefully it did help out. Like I said, Charlotte, I'm going to be using her tomorrow at 3 level, see how she does do. But like I said, it's a completely different playstyle since she can't provide a barrier towards her team if she's not obviously 2-star awakening, and she's a bit more restricted because a Black Aster taunt can just kill your whole run. So you have to bring another Black Aster to taunt their Black Aster, or then the world to taunt their Aster. See, there's a lot of stuff you have to do if you don't have this character maxed out. But if she is, then you don't have to worry too much. You can just simply just let the character go off and do what she wants to. But it takes a bit of work, a lot of work at 0-star, almost unusable. 2-star, you can work around it, but at 5-star, she's a breeze. So boys, let me know how you are using this character in terms of teams and gear, what your stats looking like. But yeah, that is how to gear the Charlotte. Didn't talk too much about it realistically, but the gear transcendence is a thing now, so you can get even more HP. That's kind of what I've done a little bit. You can see I've done a few of them, almost all of them a little bit, to get just above 100k, so it looks nice for the video. So boys, thank you for watching. Hopefully it did help out, and yeah, peace.